Welcome back to NBL Now for your Wednesday. It's Players Edition NBL Now, as always, on a Wednesday. And it's been a big week, or a big 3 games for the South East Melbourne Phoenix. So I've got Angus Glover joining me for NBL Now for your Wednesday morning. Glove, thanks for joining me. How you doing?
I'm good, mate. Thanks for having me. How you doing?
I'm doing well, and I tell you what, I'm glad we get to speak to someone from the Phoenix, because there's obviously a lot that's transpired off the court, and we talk about Josh King, who's going to coach his first game with you guys this week. But let's talk about the last 3 games, because the slow start, all the pressure was there. You turned things around, and it looks like you've turned a corner.
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, Sammy's done a good job over these past 3 games. I think we really bought into what he was trying to do, which was light a firecracker up us, basically. And going 2-1 with Sammy at the helm is definitely positive. Would have liked to have been 3-0 in that time. Obviously, wouldn't have liked to have been 0-5 in the first place. Sam's done a unreal job, and now we've got Josh coming in, and it's really exciting. Obviously, it's only been 3 days this week that he's been in, and a lot of new things being thrown at us. But now we're really excited to see how we go out on the floor on Friday.
Talk to me a little bit about, as a playing group, when you already know you're struggling on the floor to get wins, and the outside noise and the media, and then your head coach, they part ways with your head coach, an interim coach comes in. Is there any sort of players meeting or anything in that where you just try and say, hey, whatever happens from here, we can come together as a group, and then when that decision's made, we can really turn the corner from here?
Yeah, I think we had a brief one after what happened, and just said just stay together no matter what. And at the end of the day, we had no choice but to try and change it around regardless of who was coming and who wasn't. This was just something that it wasn't a long meeting, but it was all right. Let's start getting this stuff going now, and it was more just about trying to stay positive. Obviously, the cards got dealt how they got dealt, and we just had to roll with the punches and continue to go to work every day and put in everything we can to get ourselves right over those 3 games that we had, Sammy, and it was just a weird time, but I think we came out for it better, I guess.
First impressions now of Josh King, who he's been with the team for a few days now. The first game for him at the helm against Tassie and Launceston on Friday. Did you know much about him when he got announced, or did you just see some of the clips like I did? I mean, I did my research and analytics and looking all back, talking to people who used to play for him, but there were some clips floating around of he's an intense character, but I think one that's very exciting for the type of coach that I think you in particular would love to play for, but also for the club.
Yeah, definitely. He's had a very positive attitude towards everything these past 3 days, and I think it's been really exciting to really be out on the floor and learn his style of play and everything like that. And like similar to you, I've done my research myself when it got announced, and just wanted to know more about him, and I feel like a lot of us has got to know him over the last 3 days really well in a small period of time. So it's been good to actually have him in person there now and get this thing rolling come Friday.
Sam Mackinnon, you talked about the job that he did. He came out and said that a head coaching job in the future is something that he'd love to do. I think we can all sit here and say that he deserves that opportunity, and you had just played with him under the last 3 games. There's a head coach role in hopefully the not too distant future for Sam Mackinnon with his name written all over it.
Yeah, I think so. I think for us, I think when we were 0-5, the thing was he had to coach our effort on the rebounding and the defensive end. And I think anyone that's successful in this league, obviously we all know you have to be able to rebound the ball, you have to defend, and we weren't doing that. Sammy really emphasized that at practice, and there was some punishments on the line that you didn't really want to do. It was just a complete shift in everyone's mental side, I guess, to obviously not do the punishments, but it translated into those games, I think, and you saw a massive difference defensively in the rebounding count, everything. Even that Illawarra game that we lost, I believe we won the rebound count as well. And for the majority of the game, we actually guarded quite well. We just let it slip here and there, and a couple of mental lapses. But I think Sammy didn't have to coach effort over those 3 games. We just brought it.
Looking forward to seeing what Josh King does now with the team going forward, because it's great to see there's a different mental shift in the playing group, as you said, and I think it's going to be an exciting time for the Phoenix. But I got you on NBL Now because we're talking all the news around the league. And of course, I get you in, Glove, and we have to talk a little bit about the Sydney Kings, because that's been the hot topic this week. They dropped 2 games many thought that they shouldn't have or were definitely capable of winning. Now, they don't have Jalen Adams, and you know how important Jalen Adams is to this team, but they lost to Perth in Perth without Bryce and then New Zealand at home. What are you seeing from your former club?
Yeah, I mean, it goes to show how tight this league really is. Obviously, the outside noise talk all preseason was there with the championship favourites, and rightfully so with that stacked roster. But yeah, I mean, like I said, it goes to show how tight this league is. But yeah, they've I still think they're trying to work out on their rotations and other things. They've obviously got a deep roster, and they've had guys coming in and out with injuries, and so other guys get more opportunity. Then it's very hard. I feel for Gorge in a way, because he's trying to balance really 12 guys to play 40 minutes. It's very hard.
They've got the most talented roster. I think everybody can talk about that. We spoke about it from the preseason when it was put together, where you've got nearly 1 through 12 who can play 20 plus minutes. So it is hard to figure out. Is it more magnified a weekend like that, being in Sydney with the rich success and the history of the club and the pressure to always be, regardless of this year with the roster they have, just in general, Sydney, we now know, or we always have known, that they're always going to be competing for championships. People expect greatness from them. Does that make it a little bit more magnified when they do drop 2 games like they did on the weekend?
Yeah, I think so, a little bit. I think any team that is that stacked and obviously has that mentality of they're there to win championships. I mean, every team is, but I think, yeah, like you said, it's magnified in Sydney a fair bit. And it's just something that I feel they're learning. People seem to forget there's only a handful of guys that have had championship experience on that team now. There's a lot of guys that have moved on there, and all these other guys that have come in, Cam, all these guys, yeah, they might have won overseas, but they might not have won the NBL, so it's different. And they're all trying to gel and find roles and everything like that. So it's very hard to do. And it's just, as much as we say it's a long season, it's really not. It's actually, it feels like a marathon, but it's really a sprint. You have to be on the front foot from the get go. And they're 5-4, but they're a team that can explode at any moment and go in 10 straight or whatever it is. And everyone's just wary of it. Any team can do it, but I think, like you said, it's magnified, I guess, in Sydney, that with that roster and I guess previous championship experience, that you're always expected to win in Sydney.
You probably can be the one who can attest to this more, especially this year, in terms of growing pains with a new roster with so many fresh faces. So they do bring back a couple of guys. Obviously, Zave returned, and then Cam Oliver comes in, Isaiah Liafa, Bull Qual. They've got new pieces to it. No one has 9 new faces like the South East Melbourne Phoenix, but the flip side of that is probably the 2 best teams right now in Melbourne United and Illawarra returned basically everybody. Do you find those growing pains, and as I said, you can attest to it this year with new faces of figuring out roles? It is hard to do, especially in the middle of the season. It does take time to build all that up.
Yeah, it definitely does. You look at when Perth was so dominant under Trevor Gleeson, they kept a lot of their core roster. All these teams that have had success have kept a core roster over a period of time. My two years in Sydney that we won championships, we had that core group hang around for a couple of years before that, and it just translated. Melbourne United, I've been at the top for a long time, keep their core. So yeah, having a core group that hangs around for a while is obviously important, but I think from our perspective at the Phoenix, it's also a very exciting prospect to bring in 9 new faces in, get everyone to gel. That becomes your core unit going forward. And I think that's something that excites us players, excites the organisation, and hopefully excites the fans as well.
It excites me. I was very high on you in the preseason. I still am, because I've seen the glimpses now of what the South East Melbourne Phoenix can achieve. So it is exciting going forward. We talked a little bit about some other teams around the league, and we're starting to see now other players. When you lose a key piece, and for you guys, you lost Derek Walton Jr. with a hamstring injury. We hope he's back soon. But what it does give is an opportunity for players to step up. And Perth did that without Bryce Cotton. Shea Ely, we know how important he is to Melbourne, but we saw the emergence of Flynn Cameron. What is the silver lining and what goes through a player's mind? You've been in those positions before when a key player sits out games and you know your opportunity is going to increase, but how do you stay ready for it? And what has impressed you about, I guess, we saw what Perth did against Sydney. We saw what Melbourne, what Flynn Cameron did, and I guess guys like yourself without key pieces available.
Yeah, I think obviously with us, guys knew that there was minutes at the point guard up for grabs, and guys just, sorry, my dog is also squeaking his toy at me at my feet right now. But yeah, it's an exciting, it's exciting for all these players that get more opportunity. Just like no one wants to see an injury. There's no denying that. But like you said, the silver lining is people seem to forget that this, I think genuinely anyone can start on any team. It's all about giving opportunity. So the league is actually very deep. It's just guys are playing roles and stuff like that. Everyone is super talented. There's no denying that. So yeah, for us, like with D-Wall, minutes opportunity pops up, guys step up, Shea Ely and Delhi comes off the bench, and Flynn Cameron keeps that starting role and has an unbelievable weekend. And like people sit there, it's a shock, but a lot of NBL guys know that he's very capable of that stuff. Same thing, like I think you're seeing Davo Hickey have a phenomenal year. Obviously wasn't playing much early last year. Justin Tatum comes in. I think J-Rob was in and out a little bit. I think Tyler missed 1 or 2 games. Yep. Gets his chance, keeps a role going forward, and you're just seeing him emerge and continue to get better each week. So yeah, that's the silver lining. Guys step up, guys play great basketball, but no one wants to see, obviously, the stars of the league injured either.
No, you're spot on, but again, it is a beautiful thing to see all these talented players take their opportunity. And you mentioned Davo Hickey and the Illawarra Hawks. I can't talk to Angus Glover without talking about the Hawks the way they're rolling right now. And I know that when you play them, you want to beat them, as anybody would, because they are flying right now. They're one of the hottest teams in the competition. You know the Illawarra Hawks, the community, everybody better than anybody else. What's it been like sitting back and just watching this?
Yeah, obviously, from afar, it's nice to see. Obviously, that's my hometown, so it's nice to see. I guess I grew up obviously with the Illawarra Hawks, and so it's nice to see my local team still in the league. Obviously, there's been obviously a lot of changes in ownership over the whole existence of the Hawks, so it's nice. It's good to see they've got some stability there going forward. Obviously, their roster, they kept about 90% of their roster from last year, so there's that continuity. And Illawarra, it's like the community is very blue collar, like, so you see how the guys play. It's and the fans just love it there. So just to see the fan engagement with that club is massive, and it's exciting that I wouldn't say it's necessary, but it's a country team really when you think about it. That they're getting a lot of fans to games. I remember when I was playing there, the curtain was down, everything like that. The curtain's never gone down in a while, and it continues to boom, I think, going there. And they're obviously playing some very good basketball, and I'm sure they're going to continue to play good basketball. But yeah, I think it's just from being a junior kid there, being a local from there, it's just nice to see them succeed. As much as I don't want them to win the championship, I want us to win the championship, but it's nice to see them succeed.
Are they the championship favourites currently before we get to round 7?
I mean, on current form, you have to say yes, right? Obviously, I mean, everyone's got some teething pains at this time of year, but seeing them and Melbourne United, they're probably my top 2, but Illawarra's probably picked them for championship favourites in my eyes at the moment.
It's going to be very fun to watch the rest of the season. I do want to leave on this before you go to practice on your Wednesday morning. You've been around this league long enough, and because there's been a play-in tournament, and I love the idea from the start, I think it's great to have the top 6 and having to fight out for it. The implication, or putting the play-in tournament in where you've got to reach the top 6, do you think that even starting on 5, having that awareness is we've just got to be playing our best basketball and get to 6th spot by the end of the year, means that you are in a better positive state about the team, even at 0-5, or even when you get your first win now, than it would be 4 or 5 years ago when you had to reach the top 4?
Yeah, it's definitely different. the funny thing is, myself, Geordie, and Tommy have experienced this in Sydney, actually, in a way, when it was just the top four. It didn't look too pretty, obviously, for us halfway through the year. And I think we won 13 straight or something like that to kind of scrape into the four. And obviously, the rest is history. And so there's no real panic stations whatsoever. And you see it time and time again in different codes as well with Hawthorn. Hawthorn started 0-5 and made it to the top 6. And Foxy and I have been a part of Eltham having to win basically everything at the end to get into just to the 8 and go on a run. So there's a lot of guys on this team with experience of actually being able to make a run at the right time of year. And it's like what you said, you got to be playing your best basketball in January, February, and March. It's all about peaking at the right time. As much as you're seeing some teams right now play excellent basketball, I actually think someone like Illawarra's got obviously more gears to go to. I mean, every team does really, but also being realistic, not everyone plays, I guess, obviously with the scouting going on in this league, how heavily scouted it is, you can't play your best game every single game. That's just unrealistic. It's you can't shoot the ball at 100% every single game. You can't shoot the ball even at 50% every single game. It's just unrealistic. So, it's just something that excites me just going forward at how close this league is, that you make the 6, you're in with a chance.
I can't wait for it. I'm here for the Hawthorn comparisons, by the way. Hawk ball, I don't know what we're going to call it. Nick's ball doesn't sound good. Fork ball is going to get somebody cancelled. We don't want that. Glove, I appreciate you jumping on NBL Now. Good luck for this weekend and good luck for the rest of the season, but it was great to have you on.
Thanks, mate.